sugerencia. Okay, Stephan, shall we begin?
Yep. Okay.
Thank you.
So good. Yeah, we want to talk about migration from Camunda7 to Camunda8, and yeah, there are several approaches or ideas how to deal with this. Yeah, and the colleagues of mine and myself, we often try to focus on the business value of the processes we have to develop, and not to let the technical aspects become too important for our projects. Yeah? And we also had this in mind when we discussed about migration from Camunda7 to 8, and so we came up with an approach to migrate software, business software we develop based on BPMN processes, and how to migrate them between two in particular Camunda7 and 8. Yeah? So this one aspect we are focusing on, and what I prepared a presentation for. So this is what I can share. Yeah, and of course there are also other aspects like data migration. So if you have, for example, a software running a project which is already running since years, and you have a lot of instances which have to be migrated to Camunda8, then you will face some other issues. Yeah. So data migration is not the primary point of what I'm talking about now, but it's about code migration. Yeah. So I would suggest I will show you what I've prepared, and afterwards we can have a discussion, or if you have some question in between, then just interrupt me and ask. Yeah. And I hope you will find it interesting. And if this is not the aspect you are interested in, we can have pick up your questions afterwards in the and maybe we find some interesting insights for you. Okay, so I would share my screen. A question is, was someone of you joined the Camunda Summit last year in March, or was it April? I'm not sure. The Camunda Community Summit? No, okay, that's good, because this was the first time I did this talk. So if you had joined, you would know about this. But okay, I will share my screen right now. I hope this works easily. So yeah, you should see my screen now, and I will start now the PowerPoint presentation. So good. Unfortunately, I cannot see your videos right now due to this PowerPoint presentation. So if you have a question, please then not only raise your hand, but please raise your voice. Yeah.
Sure.
Thanks. Good. So yeah, migration from Camunda7 to Camunda8, and how to do that. So let me introduce myself. I'm Stephan Pelikan. I'm from Factum, located in Vienna. And yeah, the Factum company is part of the WTW group, which is also located in Germany. And together we are a Platinum certified partner of Camunda. So let me briefly compare Camunda7 and 8. Just a question. I have some now echo. Is someone not muted? Can all of you mute myself if you're not asking for interruption? That would
Maybe it
help.
was myself, Stefan. Sorry.
Okay, no problem. Just ask. Okay, yeah, great. Thank you. So okay, let's briefly compare Camunda7 and 8. Camunda7, no, this is not a new this is not a new topic for you. Camunda8 is available now since nearly 2 years. So yeah, but I think it's a good idea to recap this. Yeah. So Camunda7, as you know, is an embedded engine, and Camunda8 is now a separate service, a standalone service, similar to the Camunda7 standalone installation, but typically Camunda7 was used as an embedded engine. In Camunda7, we had various APIs to implement tasks. So for example, Java native or external tasks. And in Camunda8, we have one dedicated API for tasks, which is the worker API, and which pushes and does not poll. It's not necessary to poll for tasks. Tasks are pushed to the client. In Camunda7, we had one transaction for the business code and a modification of the business data, and the Camunda actions like driving the process forward. Yeah. And with Camunda8, as this is an external service, we have to deal with eventual consistency. In Camunda7, we had process variables. In Camunda8, there is one JSON data object which maps can be used to map process variables. And in Camunda7, we had true expression language, and in Camunda8, we have field expression language. So there are a lot of conceptual differences between those two engines. And yeah, and I did not list all of them, of course. But let me tell you that Camunda did well to not stick to any old concepts of Camunda7 and really do that breaking changes because of the future proofness we need for our processes and our business process implementations. Yeah, this is this is the comparison. So when we now check the time over, we are building a software using Camunda7 and in the future Camunda8. So in the past, we used to use Camunda7. Yeah, so we did already a lot of projects based on Camunda7, and they are right now completed. Maybe we have some ongoing projects. The upper one could be a project running for a year, for example, but there might be also some projects which may start right now, like the lower one, the lower arrow. Yeah, and in the future, of course, yeah, we will also have projects. So for the so when is the right point in time to introduce Camunda8 into our landscape? So in the past, we used Camunda7, as I said, and it's also clear that in the future we want to use Camunda8. So that's easy for those kind of projects. But what about those projects we are starting right now or need to bring online before we want to introduce Camunda8? Yeah. So of course, I had some preconditions now. Pre-assumptions, sorry. I assume that we don't use Camunda8 right now. Yeah, so we plan to use Camunda8. Yeah. Why shouldn't we use Camunda right now? Camunda8, yes, you can use Camunda8 right now. It's not a big deal, but usually, and you are focusing on your business development, you try to avoid technical transformations, yeah, and focus on your business aspects, yeah. And so maybe you don't have the time or the budget right now to introduce Camunda8. Yeah, it's a separate service. It has to be run. It has to be maintained. It's not that easy like embedding this Camunda7 engine. So let's assume you plan to use Camunda8 in the future and you're preparing for this, and it will not take much time, but a couple of months it will still need to start with Camunda8. So what about those projects with those question marks? So you have now projects you want to implement, and what are you going to do? Do you want to choose Camunda7 for those projects starting right now, or do you want to use Camunda8? But there's this risk that you cannot run it because you don't have Camunda8 in production. So yeah, what is about? This is a situation we have to solve, a problem we have to solve. So as I said up front, this strategy I'm not now introducing is not about migrating data from Camunda7 to Camunda8. So I will not tell you now how to move existing process instances from Camunda7 into Camunda8. It's about migrating code. So what can we do with on developing business software to be prepared, for Camunda8 and not to be forced to use Camunda8 right now just because we have to just because we're starting a project, a new business project right now. So, and that approach I want to show you is based on some hints in the migration guide from Camunda itself. So when you take a look at the migration guide, they suggest that you separate your actual business logic from the delegates and all Camunda APIs. Yeah. Additionally, you shouldn't also expose REST or Java APIs to, for example, front-end applications. So if you think about this, especially the first sentence, separate your actual business logic. So this is actually about hexagonal architectures. Yeah. So I hope you're all familiar with that. So at least from the conceptual perspective, in hexagonal architectures, you try to not bind to specific APIs, yeah, like Camunda7 or Camunda8. So we want to introduce generic APIs, or not generic, general APIs. So how does this look like? Let me show you. So in the past, we used to use the Camunda7 API to start a workflow, or complete the service task, or to register and complete user tasks, for example, in custom task lists, or to correlate incoming messages. So for the next projects, we are unsure. Should we use Camunda7 API, or should we already use Camunda8 API? And will we be ready and operating Camunda8 in time with before going online with our projects we're currently developing? So, and the idea for, by separating this API means to introduce this abstract business processing API. So in our business code, we don't use Camunda7 API or Camunda8 API in particular. We use an abstract business processing API. And that business processing API can be implemented by Camunda7 or Camunda8 adapters to use Camunda7 or Camunda8 to run our processes. And this is the implementation of the hexagonal architecture. So what does that mean to our timeline? So as we now use an abstract business processing API, we can implement our current projects. And on developing, we might use the Camunda7 adapter to run our processes. And yeah, if we're going in production before we introduce Camunda8 in our infrastructure landscape, yeah, we still keep it in Camunda7. And if the project is ongoing as the lower one here on the like this one, then we can start with Camunda7, and yeah, before going online, we can switch to Camunda8 and start and use that project with Camunda8. And since we have this abstract business processing API in use, we don't have to change our code. That's the main idea, primary idea. We can still, we can also use this abstract API on current ongoing projects. Because typically what you develop has to be maintained over a longer period. So maybe you want to migrate your current projects as well in the future, not actually planned, but yeah, if this software is running for a longer time, then it will come someone in the future. Yeah, for old already completed projects, you of course can choose to migrate to this abstract API for some of those projects. For example, if you have new business requirements and you want to change your need to change your software, then maybe you do these changes already using this new API instead. Or if you have projects, you know that they will have to be maintained longer than the official Camunda7 support period. Then you know that you have to migrate to Camunda8 at all. And yeah, so be prepared by using this abstract API. And also for Camunda8 projects, those you also you plan to implement in the future, it's a good idea to use this abstract API because it's implementing the clean architecture concepts, and it also helps you to focus on the business requirements and not to stick to technical issues and technical APIs. Yeah, and also it helps to scale your team better than before, because this abstract API is not specific to Camunda, so so people don't need to know about Camunda in detail. So cons and pros of this approach. Yeah, it's a burden to implement these adapters and the API, of course, because especially for Camunda beginners, because you need some experience to design this abstract API, and also experience with Camunda7 and Camunda8 to build those adapters needed. But on the other hand, this is the clean architecture approach, so it's a good idea to use this in your code. This abstract API will be limited to features available in C7 and C8. So it's once you want to use features only available in C8, then you have to, yeah, this abstract API will not be sufficient. You can extend this abstract API and assume that any this feature you want to use from Camunda8 might be also good enough for other engines. But yeah, in general, you should not implement, also build your software not too close to specific APIs and to features, and not to bind too much to particular API engines, yeah, in particular Camunda7 or Camunda8. We all love Camunda7 and Camunda8, no problem, of course. But now, as we're talking about Camunda7 to 8 migration, you see that it's always a good idea to not use particular APIs and use the abstract APIs instead. So it also helps to decouple development. We saw this when I showed you the timeline. So we can develop, we can do our projects using this abstract API because we don't have to mind about the version of the engine running in the background. Yeah, so we can develop our project and start using Camunda7. And if the project goes in production when we already introduced Camunda8, then we are fine to switch to Camunda8 without changing the code. Yeah, one con is of course that those adapters need to be maintained over the time. But on the other hand, when you do your project and you have multiple projects, then you also have to maintain those projects when the Camunda8 API, for example, changes over the time. So the advantage, this con is also a pro because then the maintenance is centralized. Yeah, this is of course a con. This is not a no change approach. A lot of people wish to have some, let me say, magic code or magic adapter, which can be used or just bound to the project, and then you can still use the Camunda7 API, but everything runs on Camunda8 in background. And this is not working. We discussed this and we thought a lot about it. But Camunda7 APIs are too specific to the technology used by Camunda7. So it's not a good idea to stick to those APIs. It's a better idea to move to a more generic API. So, and moving to a more generic API will simplify your software. And as I said before, this will also help you to scale your teams. So, and we did something for a little bit for you. We, also my company and some other guys of the community, we built this API, this abstract API for you. And this is called the VanillaBP BP, sorry, VanillaBP API. Yeah, why vanilla? Typically, vanilla means the original, the unmodified. So in this situation, we said what would be an original business processing API if we don't know about Camunda7 or 8 or other engines. And so we designed this API from that perspective. And the adapters are open source projects available on the Camunda Community Hub. So, and now that we introduced this for you and the community in general, you now don't have to mind about implementing this API or the adapters because they are available. You can use them. And also the maintenance is now done by the community. So that should help you, especially if you're a beginner. So what does this look like in your project? So now we're talking about a Java project. I know I heard one of you, at least one of you is from .NET. I hope you can follow at least those concepts I will show. For others of you, what I will show you now is the implementation, also the usage of this abstract API of the VanillaBP API. And currently it's implemented based on Spring Boot. It does not stick to Spring Boot, but as most of the people now use Spring Boot to build their software, we built adapters for this environment first. So when we build our software, we want to use that API, and you just bind this package here. It's Maven dependency, and this package is the service provider interface for that abstract API, and it includes those interfaces, enumerations, and annotations you need in your business code. And then at runtime, when you bundle your Spring Boot application, you also add, for example, this Camunda7 Spring Boot adapter if you choose to use Camunda7 for your implementation. It includes the binding of the API and also is aware of deployment, BPMN deployment. If you prefer to use Camunda8 or you want to move to Camunda8, then simply exchange this dependency and you're good to go. So let me guide you to this API and what it looks like. So first of all, we talked about the POM, so that's fine. Next is the BPMN. So unfortunately, we cannot use the same BPMNs with from Camunda7 and deploy it to Camunda8. They decided to also do a break in this area. So we have our Camunda7 BPMNs. And yeah, what is important, we have a BPMN process ID. This is what we need to start our process. It identifies our particular process. We use expressions, for example, this general expression or delegate expressions to implement service tasks. And with our VanillaBP adapter, we changed this look of the expressions, yeah, because as you can see, the striked out expressions from origin Camunda7 are very specific to the current implementation. So it's hard to move to another implementation which is exactly the same. So that's yeah, not easy to do. So we decided to also change that expression, and you just choose a name like process task or whatever your service task is about, which defines which is a placeholder for your actual implementation. But let me show you later what that means in code. Yeah, the expressions are still the Joule expressions. We keep it as it is. That's so fine. And here's another service task having this expression with the name we choose for our implementation. So now we have a C7 demo BPMN ready. We want now to wire this to our code. And with the VanillaBP, we introduce Spring services annotated by workflow service. So there is one service or typically one service which is responsible to interact with the BPMN workflow. Yeah, and so this is also some kind of separation, so not to spread the interaction necessary with the Camunda engine to different sections of your code, but instead have one particular service responsible for one particular BPMN process. And as you can see, we have here the class has the same name as the ID of the process in BPMN. So we use a lot of convention over configuration to auto-configure the software. So whenever you deploy a process with the ID demo workflow, the adapter expects a service to be available which also has the same name. Of course, you can choose a different name if that name doesn't match or you want to choose another one. But as I said, convention over configuration first. So next, we also have thoughts about process variables. We all know process variables from Camunda7. And if you ever have built huge projects, you know that process variables can be a pain in the ass because of the historization and the joining, and they can be a performance impact. And of course, they are specific to the engine because, as I said at the very first slide, in the comparison slide for Camunda8, there are no process variables anymore. There is instead one big object, JSON object, which stores all the process variables. These concepts are similar but not identically. So we ask ourselves, okay, if someone does not know about Camunda7 and does not know about Camunda8, what would be the way to store data used in Camunda in process expressions? And we all know, JPA or to persist our data. And so we decided to also use an entity as an abstraction of the process variables. So all you have to do is to introduce this entity and name all the process variables as columns. This also works with other repositories, with other storages, like as it's not necessarily JPA. It also works with MongoDB or other NoSQL DBs. So as you see on the left side here, our expression from success is the business variable. It's now available as a property of our entity. So, and here on the top, this changed right now. I hope you saw the transformation. We have to tell the adapter by extending this annotation what entity has to be used. And I forgot to mention, we call this entity an aggregate. This is a concept from the domain-driven design. So an aggregate is a summary or a bag of all the data you need for your current business case. Yeah, and in that particular situation here, this is bound to the BPMN workflow. So we have our aggregate. So next we want to start our workflow. So we need to outer wire a process service. This is an interface, which is also an abstraction of the Camunda APIs, either 7 or 8, because it's an abstract API, and it can be used to start a process, a workflow. As you can see here, this some other code might call this method start demo and pass an ID of the oops, sorry, I hit and pass the ID of your business case. That might be, for example, an order ID, or whatever you have to process in your using BPMN, you can pass here, and we store it in an aggregate and pass this aggregate, this entity, to the start workflow method, and the rest is done by the adapter. So quite simple. The workflow tasks are also very simple. Again, we have here processes, convention over configuration. As you can see, we have a method which is annotated with workflow task annotation. So this is the hint for the adapter that this has to be chosen, this method, to implement a service task. And in particular, as you can see on the right side, we changed our expressions in Camunda7. So this process task is the text which matches the method name. And if that does not match, or you cannot match it because the BPMN is given, then you can also override it here by using this extension of the this attribute of the annotation. So that's it. This is the way how we can start a process and how we can run service tasks with VanillaBP. And this code is not bound to Camunda7 or Camunda8. It's independent, and yeah, and it runs with both systems depending on adapter chosen at runtime. So what's next? We build a lot of validation in. So whenever, because, okay, let me step back. You see this is a lot of aspect-orientated API. Also not only, sorry, mouse is it's nervous. So we have here things which might work if the right annotation is passed to the right, so is placed at the right method. And this is, of course, a problem if it's not done in the correct way. So we do a lot of validation, fix issues when you did not do that correct. So what would be such validations? For example, yeah, I showed you a little bit of code, but we did not define a repository for our entity. So our adapters for Camunda7 or 8 need those repositories, Spring Data repositories, to access the underlying storage, for example, the SQL database or no SQL database. So if we miss this, we get this error message: no Spring Data repository defined for our demo equipment. So we have to do that by simply adding this JPA repository. Another possibility, if we forget to implement a service task which is found in the BPMN, then on booting the application, you will get this error. No public method annotated with workflow task is matching a task having task definition process task. So if you go back, if we missed this method, process task, workflow with the workflow task annotation, you will get exactly that exception, and then you have the right hint. Okay, I missed that. I will add it, and then you can retry, and everything is good. And there are also some other hints. Just the last one I want to show you. So this process service is this abstract class to start a process, or also needed to correlate messages and other and things like that. So if you also miss to add this to your class, then you also hinted for this. Good. What's next? Camunda8. We want now to do the same with Camunda8. So what do we need to change? We have to add this Camunda8 specific BPMN. And now watch that expression here from Camunda7. If we switch to Camunda8, we just use the same value, the same string we used for the expression as the task definition in Camunda8. And that's it. Okay, of course, expressions are now translated to feel because it's not Joule anymore. But so with this change in Camunda7, with this change of expression, we have the possibility to build very similar BPMNs for Camunda7 and 8. So they do not, there is no big step from one system to the next. It's just a minor step. Yeah. Good. And once we have this, we put it in a separate directory because it's specific to Camunda8, so we have to separate them. And we switch the Maven dependency, as I've shown you in the beginning, to Camunda8, and we are now to use good to go Camunda8. So I would like to show this to you. I've prepared a demo. This is also available on GitHub. You can do this on your own. And I use this little process because it has some typical situations. So different ways to start the process. Then here we have this user task. After that, we have the exclusive gateway to choose the right path afterwards. And here we have a receive task and also a service task. So we in migration scenario, what we will do, we will want to start new workflows with C8, but still keep those C7 ones we started before, sticking to Camunda7. So the idea of this adapter-based migration is to not move existing workflow instances from C7 to C8, but to run them in parallel. So every new process instance is started with C8, but the existing process instances still run with Camunda7. So we have and not a big bang migration. We have a smooth migration over time. So, and it depends on the use case you have in particular. If you have processes which rush through a bit within minutes, hours, or even days, then it's only a matter of a couple of days until all your process instances are run in Camunda8 and not in Camunda7 anymore. So we typically not need to migrate data from Camunda7 to Camunda8. Only in special cases, if you have processes which run over months or years, then you have to think about how to migrate data from Camunda7 to Camunda8. But this is not very often. Yeah, we have also customers using those long-running processes, but they are not a regular base. So let me show you. Okay, yeah, sorry, forgot. No code change. So this is also a main target of this hexagonal architecture, to not change code if you change any underlying system. And yeah, we want to change from C7 to C8. Good. Let me minimize this. So I have checked out this GitHub project here right now. We have here running Camunda8 or is already running. And this GitHub project what I want to show you. Is it too small or is it okay, the size? Should I increase the size? I can do that, I think.
Maybe a little. I don't know if Baby has a Zoom tool. I don't know.
Yeah, good question. I'm not well prepared for this. So like this. Yeah, okay. Good. So this is the simple VanillaBP demo project. It shows how to use this VanillaBP adapters for migration. And this process we already discussed. And what you need to do to reproduce what I show now is to build it. And there's a Maven profile for Camunda7. And then you can run it using also a Spring profile for Camunda7, because you need the right adapter. This is done by the right Maven profile, and you need the right configuration for Camunda7. This is done by the Spring boot profile. And once that is running, you can start processes. Let us try this. Okay, here I will run that. Let me show. I have this in the history. So I will build it, and now I will run it with Camunda7. Yeah, that's fine. So this demo application runs, also is starting up. Can I zoom? Yeah, I can zoom in. So what we see here from starting, can I show you something? Okay, here the BPMN process from the directory processes 7 are picked up because now we have the Camunda7 adapter in place. Yeah, and when I switch here back, this is a Camunda7 cockpit. It is running. It is available. No process is running. And in this simple demo, if you scroll down, we will find a little introduction how to use it. There is a tiny REST API to start this. Yeah, so we will use that API in the browser. It's most of them. It's only about GET requests. Yeah? And I think I used. Okay, this is my business key. So what? Yeah, you know from Camunda7 the business key. So this is the identifier of my use case, my demo use case, and I will choose a new one because I tested this right before. So I don't want to reuse the existing one. So I will use 14. So as you have seen in the background here in the log, when I hit enter in the browser, the process started right now, and it spawned a user task. Let us check the cockpit. Yes, it runs, and there's user task. Let me show you here. Here we are. This is my. So this is the start event. I've installed the enterprise cockpit so we can have history, but for now I will hide it. So this is maybe I will show you the code, but this is really exactly what you have seen in the presentation. So there's not much difference. We will see this is the service, and okay, we have this REST controller, and here is the start demo. This is the mapping we have. I've used in the browser, and it simply runs start demo from the demo workflow service. So in the demo workflow service, this looks quite nearly the same as you have seen in the presentation. We just build the aggregate, set the value, the ID, just one value at this time, and we start the process. And afterwards, we log it. Yeah? So we see run 14. Yeah. So next is that the process hits the user task. So, sorry, we check. Okay, there is for the user task. We call it. Also, this is a user task. And sorry. And it logs the user task right on the here on the. Sorry, where is it? User task. Yeah, sorry. Process task. Yeah, so user dated in the same way as service tasks. And there's an additional parameter, which is the task ID for the completion. You will need the task ID later on. So we just log it right here. And in our REST controller, there is a possibility to complete this user task. So what I will do right now is, is to copy ID. And in the browser, I hope I have already a task. What is it? Complete. Task completed. And I will. This is for the process ID 14 and the task ID copied right now. So, oh, sorry, wrong port. So, and if you see in the background, something happened. And now let me refresh. You will see that the process, the user task was complete. Now we are in the receive task. Let us check what has what we did. So we have to complete. This is the task completed. We passed the task ID, and yeah, there's some minor logic, but in the end, we call complete user task of our demo workflow. And here in the complete user task in the demo workflow, we set the property in our aggregate, the success property. And as you can see, for typically it would be the response of the user, also in the form what we set. But for the demo purposes, I set just the ID modular 2. So we have 14 as an ID for this first run. So success is true. And this is why the process runs the upper path and not the lower one. Yeah. So as you can see, also the code for completing, for spawning and for completing user tasks is really simple. So let us assume we have now this running process instance, and now we want to move to Camunda8. So we stop our application, we build the application, and now we add the Camunda8 adapter. So Maven build. Now we start the Camunda application and invite. So this time we have to also activate the Camunda8 Spring profile for configuration of the CB client, which is used in the background from the VanillaBP adapter. And if I'm right, we should now get an error. Let me see. I hope it is. I am right, and it is not configured. It should give us an error. Take some time. Yes. And what is the error? So more than one VanillaBP adapter was found in the class path, but no default adapter is configured at one of these properties. Yeah. Available adapters are Camunda8 or Camunda7. So we have now pushed the second adapter, Camunda8 adapter, to class path. So the API does not know which engine should be used to start new processes. So we need to define one of those properties, and I will do this right now. This is a Spring Boot property, and it gives you it is the hint for the adapter which engine to choose. So the first engine is the one which is used to start new processes. So every new process should be started in Camunda8. And the second is the fallback. So in some cases or in some situations, we need to, for example, on completing a user task, we do not know is the process already in Camunda8 or is it still in Camunda7? So the engine tries to complete the user task in Camunda8, and if that doesn't succeed, it tries to complete the user task in Camunda7, and that's the way how we do the migration. So I started right now. So as you can see, there's already some CB stuff. CB is connecting here, creating CB clients. So we are connected to Camunda8. Now we can also see right here, we deployed Camunda7 processes as well as those Camunda8 processes. And the application is now ready. So refresh in the background, cockpit is still available, and the process is waiting right here. So let's start another process. This time I will choose 15 ID. So as you can see in the background, again, run another workflow started, but this time we see that the user task ID looks a little bit different because it's based on Camunda8. So if we go to the Camunda8 cockpit, operate, sorry, we see that this new process started in Camunda7. So just by changing the class path and the configuration, we could start the process with Camunda8. So we can use the same technique to complete the user task. It was this one. This time we have to name this other ID. And it was 15, sorry. So, and as you can see here, we see error because this is the hint. So we see that it takes a while to update this operate. Come on, not that fast, that one. So why we see error? Because it is an odd number, 15. So we have no success, and we run into this log error task, and that doesn't refresh right now, but I refresh now manually. And as you can see here, completed instances, the one we started right now is completed, and it hits the log error path. So what is about this task? This Camunda7 process still ongoing. Okay, let's complete that one. So if I check the README file, there's the REST call we need to trigger the continue command. So this one. So we will do that for the API 14 because this process, as you can see, business key is 14. So I will do that. So in the background, we see continue 14 registered. And now if I refresh, it is because the process instance also completed right now. So having two adapters in the class path gives you the ability for a smooth migration from Camunda7 to Camunda8. Good. So I will switch back. I have just a couple, not much left on slides, and then we can start the discussion. So what is it? Oh, okay. I think I have to from right here. So I know I'm a little bit late. Also, it takes longer than I expected. Sorry. I hope it's fine for you.
It's okay.
So we have done the live demo. Good. So what is now implemented by this VanillaBP abstraction? First, the wiring of the BP managers and the services. We saw that. This is about the annotations and the abstract classes and interfaces. We saw that the implementation of the process variables based on that aggregate entity. We have seen the service-like tasks, the receive-like tasks, asynchronous tasks, currently only implemented for Camunda8, but is also easily possible for Camunda7. It's not yet done in the adapter, in the Camunda7 adapter, but we will do that soon. User tasks I've shown you. It's also multi-instance tasks also possible without binding to Camunda7 or 8 in particular. It's also available in the abstract API. Of course, throwing BPMN errors. And as you have seen, also the deployment, the Camunda7 or Camunda8 specific deployment is done by the adapter. What is missing is currently process versioning. All the processes are deployed to the engine, to the respective engine. But sometimes you want to treat different processes in a separate way, depending on the process version in your code. And this is right now not possible because in Camunda8, there are no version tags right now. They should already have been introduced, but they are a little bit late. So I hope in the next Camunda8 release we will find them, and once they are available, we can also implement that feature. So what have we learned? What we have achieved is we can run C7 processes and one on C8 processes using the same code. So this is a big deal. A big advantage. We can run C7 processes next to C8 processes. So we can our demo workflow with C7, and if we have to implement a new process in our project, the demo2 workflow, we can run it with C8. But as I've shown you, we can also run C7 process instances of the same workflow next to Camunda8 processes. What is missing? The asynchronous task for C7 and the BPMN version specific tasks. And this is now currently only implemented for Spring Boot. It is also possible for Jakarta Enterprise, also Java Enterprise, but yeah, we did not, because currently there is no one requested it right now. So VanillaBP simplifies business processing code. I hope I could highlight this and show you in the demo. Yeah, it simplifies the migration from C7 to 8, and it also simplifies the BPMNs for Camunda7. And what it is good for, actually, as I said in the very beginning, we always try to focus on our business and not to become Camunda or any other process engine a driver of costs and effort. Yeah, so we want to build software for our business and not build software for Camunda. Yeah, so that's the point. Yeah, that's it. Here you will find all the adapter and the demo and the SPI. We have a lot of documentation written for the and how to use the API. It's not very big, it's really tiny next to the Camunda7 or Camunda8 documentation, but it's not necessary to have a big documentation because it's that simple. So I am done for now. So feel free to ask questions.
Sure, thank you very much, Stefan. And no worries about time. Well, everybody's here now, and thank
Okay,
you for
great.
everybody. Yeah, yeah, it was very interesting to see how VanillaBP works. And yeah, we have a question here from. Um, let me check. This is from Juan Carlos. Juan Carlos, he's asking about a specific question about Camunda8 self-managed. You know
Yeah,
that, well, I told
yeah.
you that he is working right now with a client, um, an opportunity there with a client. So he is asking about what are the considerations to take care about migrating with exporters from Elasticsearch and Hazelcast in order to use a relational database like Postgres, for example. If there is some kind of considerations, if it is possible, or what is the best
Um,
approach there?
yeah. Okay. You mean use it instead of Elasticsearch and because the exporter in Camunda8 is responsible for exporting all the events to some other system, because CB is not a system meant to read from. It's just for interacting with using the gRPC API. But if you want to know what is the state of your current process, you have to look somewhere else, and the data has to be stored in another repository. And Camunda has chosen Elasticsearch for this, and yeah, this was their decision, and I agree. I don't like it as well, because it's not actually a data store, it's just an index. And so if you want to keep those information persisted and safe, then you have to choose another exporter, or an additional exporter. And actually with the Hazelcast, we don't have experience, but we built a Kafka, not we build a Kafka exporter, we use a Kafka exporter. There is a community-based Kafka exporter, and this is what we are using. So we are also exporting events directly from Camunda7, 8 to another store. because of that. Because of the problems introducing with Elasticsearch. So actually, I cannot quite support you with Hazelcast. I can just can agree that it's a good idea to export it to other systems. So in our situations, we export it to Kafka, and we consume those Kafka streams for building, for example, a custom task list application, yeah, or update status information for processes in our own application. So yeah, I know it's not right this answer you were expecting, but actually in particular for Hazelcast, I don't can give you any experience.
Okay, thank you. Yes, I will transmit this to Juan Carlos. Thank you very much. And I have another question only from myself, and it's about to the final understanding about Vanilla BP is that it works like an accelerator. Let's say it's an accelerator to any migration that we want to perform with any client. So is that my understanding that we can only plug in this code into our applications running Camunda7, and then it's going to replace or to substitute all the links or the classes that maybe we need to change in order to work into Camunda8. It's
Yeah,
right, my understanding?
yeah, yeah, yeah. It should.
Okay.
So in your business code, you don't you shouldn't use any specific Camunda API anymore, neither 7 nor 8. Yeah, and that's the idea. So instead of moving from Camunda7 to Camunda8, you're moving your code from the Camunda7 API to the VanillaBP API, because then you are free to use any adapter you wish afterwards. Yeah, if you want to keep Camunda7 for now, then it's okay. You can use the Camunda7 adapter, and once you want to migrate, you choose the Camunda8 adapter, or both, as I've shown you. And yeah, actually, you could also choose another adapter pointing to another independent engine. Of course, we don't want this. We are all glad with Camunda, but this is the idea of the hexagonal architecture, to not bring specific APIs into your code. So why not migrate from Camunda7 to some abstract API to implement that pattern, yeah, and which helps you to migrate to Camunda8 as well. Yeah. There are a lot
Okay.
of benefits besides that migration topic. Yeah.
Okay, got it. Thank you. Yes, and in terms of time, do you think that there is a kind of metric to mention here to everybody that maybe using Vanilla VP versus using a typical migration, it could be 2 times faster, 3 times faster, something like that?
Um, okay, so actually, I guess it's something in between. Nearly, okay, let me say some number. Not exactly 2 times, but I guess nearly 2 times faster. Yeah, because we simplified a lot. Okay, I give you some example. Maybe it's even more than this. Yeah, especially with Camunda8, you have eventual consistency, and this is not an easy topic. Yeah, eventual consistency means that when you save your data, you changed your local data from your business case. Yeah, so for example, an order processing. Yeah, you change your order because you have shipped some items. Yeah, and then and this is part of a service task, and then you are done with the service task, and you tell Camunda8 using the API that the service task is done, and Camunda8 will go to the next tasks. Yeah, so But what if you fail to address Camunda because Camunda is down for maintenance, for example? Yeah, then you have completed your service task, but Camunda cannot go ahead because you cannot hit Camunda anymore. So you have to redo this, but you cannot redo this because you have done already this job. So this is a problem with eventual consistency. And there are, let me say, 4 or 5 situations similar to this, in conjunction to eventual consistency, which may break your data or your workflow. Yeah, and now with the adapter, with the abstract API, we can put all this complexity of this eventual consistency into the adapter. It's hidden from the business code. Yeah, so it's really easy to write new software or to adapt existing software with that VanillaBP API, because every every complexity is hidden in the adapter. Yeah, and you separate your business code from the let me say glue code, from the code necessary to deal with Camunda8 or deal with Camunda7, and that should accelerate you. Yeah, and and the people currently working on VanillaBP are people, community members, which work with Camunda since nearly 10 years. So they have a lot of experience about about a lot of different situations. So you can expect that a lot of things are considered and are dealt with in the Camunda8 adapter and also in the Camunda7 adapter. A beginner, for example, is not aware of. Yeah, so this also helps you. Yeah, because that makes you faster, because you don't have to learn about these special things. Yeah, they are all of them are already implemented in the adapter, and you don't even have to know about them. Yeah, so this will help you to be faster. And yeah, and we think it's a better idea to migrate to some abstract API, and it does not need to be a VanillaBP. We built VanillaBP because we thought it's a good idea to have some community for this API instead, some company. Yeah, and but you can choose to implement your abstract API on your own. Yeah, and it will help you in the same way as I've shown you with VanillaBP. So if you don't want to use VanillaBP, it's also fine. Yeah, the
Okay.
idea is the main thing you have to keep in mind.
Okay, thank you very much, Stefan. That's all from my side, and I don't see any more questions in the chat. But anyway, I think that's all from our side. And I don't know if you want to add anything else, anybody, or you, Stefan, yourself. Do you want to say anything else before we finish?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you for your patience and of course for the invitation. I'm totally glad to talk to you. Yeah, and
Yeah.
yeah, and I hope
Thank you very much.
you have some impressions and some ideas learned from VanillaBP.
Of course. We are in Mexico working in migrations right now
Mhm.
because we are a little bit delayed. If we compare about maybe another geographies, another countries, but we are thinking about migrations also from seven to
You're
eight.
not delayed. You're not delayed. No. Yeah, so we are working with a
Yeah,
lot of German companies and from Germany, and
they are the same.
yeah, the same. Yeah, so we have only one company using Camunda8 right now. Yeah. Uh,
Okay.
so and it's it's okay. Yeah. So it takes some time, and actually when using Camunda8, you will see, you might experience that some things are not that ready. Yeah. So as you like it from Camunda7, so some problems are not solved yet. for example, the versioning as I mentioned. Yeah, and yeah, but you need it in your software. Yeah, so it's okay to not switch right now, but it is
Okay.
a good idea to be prepared. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And to take care
Mhm.
about the details.
Yeah.
Yes, because it can be costly to lose information or
Yeah.
to lose instances. But anyway, thank you
And
very much.
if someone of you has questions later on, just get in contact on LinkedIn. It's also
Okay,
I'm totally fine with this. Yeah.
I will do it. Thank you very much, everybody. Luigi,
Thanks,
Jan.
Stefan. Thanks for the Thanks for the
You're,
invitation.
you're welcome. So yeah, have a nice evening.
You too. Bye bye.
Oh, nice. Oh, nice.